rip it. No, 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 no.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the 13th episode of The Treat Show. I am JLo, and joining me tonight is no one because my co-host just decided to skip out tonight and my guest. But the good news is we're all still here. So tonight we're going to touch on 10 of my favorite products in the garden in the show, and I think that'll be fun still. And we got some update on news. I know there's something I'm really intrigued to tell you guys about, but I think right off the bump is I think that I wanted to shout out to Disbanded Brotherhood. Thank you for being my supporter. I really appreciate you so much. Well, I think if we pull up this bad boy, this list right now, is I know some people are already going to disagree with some of the products and things that I have up here. But I think whether you grow organically or hydro, I think all these products offer something special. I think that... What do you think?
Do your products or your segments?
Oh, I think we should start with the products. Let's do this. Top 10 products. So I know there's like a bazillion products that everybody likes in the grow, but this is really just my favorites, my core values. So I want to start with the Grodan Rockwool Cubes blocks. Grodan is actually the only manufacturer of Rockwool. So I've heard controversial things saying that the white labels and versus the silver labels wrapping around the Rockwool cube is different companies and things like that. That is false. So the white wrapping is actually from their first machine. It's just an older, and they used to do the white seal instead. And then when they upgraded and got their new machine, they started doing the silver. The only difference that I've noticed is honestly, like actually growing with them both is the silver sheets I think are actually thicker. So when it comes to like algae or just some of the growth when your babies are just getting started, I think it's really good for keeping your like roots kind of just on point and tight versus I think when you take off the wrapper on the white labeled ones, it gets a little soggy. Like, and I know this is weird, but watering the same way and all these things is just something I've noticed. I think I would buy either of them. I've noticed that there is a price difference if you buy the white label versus the silver. And to me, honestly, I would save the money if you're furnishing a big room. If you were not worried and you had like 50 plants or so, I would definitely be doing the silver side. But I think they're great. And as far as like sourcing the material and all those things, they're coming from the same source. So you don't have to be worried about like the quality dropping as far as that. Like I said, Grodan has no competition. So it's kind of, it kind of just is what it is. As far as mediums though, is one thing I never hear people talk about is like Rockwool versus soil. One time we'll get like really deep into it and all that stuff. But really, the idea of this medium is that you're eliminating a medium. And so it's really cool because you're taking and you're relying just on your watering system, essentially, is that you're not trying to have the roots expand into like a 5-gallon pot and like get developed that way. Is I feel like it's a little bit different of an approach where they're relying on you for all of their feeds. There is no medium actually like holding the density of the moisture and all those things. So yeah. Let's see what's up next. Oh, hi, Mike Denver. Clonex gel. Okay, so that's the other one is Clonex gel. I know a lot of people hate and they talk about PGRs and all these different things being involved with this product. The thing is when you're using a rooting gel, period, is you're promoting hormones. So PGRs and all the rumors aside from that or people just don't like to mess with them, as I do understand as far as consuming yourself, I guess, but these are young plants that it really actually does stimulate their growth, and it is what the plant is actually calling for at that stage in their life. And when you're topping these plants, these other hormones are released, and I don't know. I feel like this gel compared to like the Root Tech and some of the other things, like I've even tried aloe vera and some of these other things in the past, but like aloe vera, I've noticed if you use that as a rooting hormone, you'll run into like mold and mildew kind of problems and bacteria imbalances. The Root Tech is, I would say, is super similar to Clonex. It does have hormones added into it and things like that, but the Root Tech gel itself is very liquid, kind of like drippy versus the Clonex is actually thick. And one of the reasons that you're using these gels is so that you can actually seal the wound to help eliminate infection or anything or bacteria. So there's one thing I've really been impressed with it. I've used it both ways though. It's like in gardens, I've definitely not used Clonex gel on my same clones and strains and things like that to see if I really need this product. It's about $100 a bottle, but it lasts you for a year. I'd say even using all the time. But I have seen a difference. Like, I wish, honestly, deep down that I could be against some of these companies because they are so big. And I used to feel the same way about some of the things that they were adding to their products. But the deeper that I get into it and really looking at what the plant is calling for, Clonex Gel has been something that when I introduce new clients to that are nervous, I know 100% that the Clonex Gel is actually going to not have any of these problems, or we don't have to worry about powder mildew or like the humidity levels of the dome getting too high and having these other shenanigans going on. So big fan of Clonex. Do not spill it on your carpet though. I will say that, do not spill it on anything. It will never ever leave you. Number 8. I don't even know. Okay. H2O2. So this is 34% hydrogen peroxide. So I am going to do a show on this one day. I'm so sorry that I couldn't prepare for this better today. But I really want to talk about H2O2 because those out there using easy cloners and, yes, we love Dark Horse and THC Cedar and Daz. We love them all. But I feel like the H2O2 is so good for easy cloners. It's like I see a lot of people that grow organically and use easy cloners. And the thing is like when it gets into this like organic versus not organic and all this shenanigans, it's a very sensitive line, I understand. But I think that what you're trying to ultimately do is produce a really healthy plant that's healthy to be consumed. So one thing that H2O2 really combats is things like pest and disease issues. And if you actually can eliminate these things from the start, your plant is obviously going to develop much healthier. But some of the risk comes from these systemic diseases that nobody knows how to fix or prevent, or you don't even know are in your plant. And it's like that is way worse to combust than a pesticide or some of these things that we are really concerned about. So I think H2O2, I found that like the heaters in the easy cloners, I've seen like the actual pumps themselves will get the water really warm. There's a couple tricks that you can do with that. Like you can add ice water bottles for cheap, and just toss those in there. But it's like a real actual problem I've seen. And like if you're not changing out the water once a week or every 3 or 4 days, if you add like 1 to 5 mils per gallon of H2O2. I like the Alchemist because it's actually diluted, even though it's the 34%. It's a really forgiving product. Like there's rumors that if you use too much H2O2 or use it daily, that your plants will herm out in flower or you'll have all these other crazy problems. And I'll say like I add it into everything. My flower, I do use it with beneficials. If you use it on the low end, on the 1 mil per gallon, like you can still build these beautiful living beds and all those things without it damaging those things. But just keeping really the bugs and disease kind of eradicated. If you use 5 mils per gallon, that's obviously on the hotter side. But when you're adding these to large reservoirs, say that you're at like 100 mils at that point, is like, I think if you do this daily, I've personally never seen somebody have a problem with it. And it actually does keep your lines clean. It keeps your trays clean. It keeps the salt buildup. Or if you're growing organically, it keeps everything kind of clean. I love it. Number 7. What is... Jax. Okay, so we've all heard of Jax out there. I don't think that they don't get that much love anymore. They used to. I remember everybody was like, I got my Jacks and my 511 26, and now everybody's like shitting on Jacks. But I think that Jax is a really good start or introduction. I think for salt lines is it does cover all your essential nutrients. Sorry, but bases as a whole kind of do that. And so Jax has been a familiar brand in things, and they source their products that they put in the salt mix really, really well. They are organically derived and things like that. So I am a huge fan of them. But there's another product line that ever since COVID, I honestly can't find. But it's Mendocino 511 26, and I've actually found that I like that one better than Jax's formula just because it dissolves better. They use molasses actually in it and sulfur. So it's weird, but those that are scared of sulfur is it's a really, really low rate in the salt mix itself, and it's a really good preventative again for pest and disease issues. And so the molasses in there as well, compared to the Jax formula, is I feel like, I don't know, it's like the extra little sugars and the actual consistency of the salts is with the Mendocino line is it actually dissolves really, really easily. And if you're again mixing like big stock tanks, is it's easier to get to break down without a drill or some of these other things. You can just use hot water. Versus Jax, I do love it, but I struggle even with them as far as getting them to dissolve fully. and the thing about salts is it's supposed to be fully soluble. That's why you're using these. And so I don't know. Jax I definitely like, but Mendocino is another one that if you guys are even interested in trying salts, those are a good base. Whenever you use salts, you need usually 2 to 3 parts to a salt mix. Is your base obviously being your base, but in comparison to most nutrient lines is there's an A and a B. And so this would be your part A here. And so what that also means is that it's not chemically compatible with calcium nitrate. And that's another product we're going to talk about, but that would be your B. So whenever you see these pre-bottled nutrients out there, no matter your preference in line, is most times they're using a base formula from salts, and it covers all your essential nutrients in it. And then you can choose to whether add mag or calcium nitrate or some of these other additives to customize it. Oh, these are so funny. Yeah, ice is a pain in the ass in those bad boys. Honestly, I used to love easy cleaners so much, just like everybody. But then, like, when you really dial them in, it's like you're changing out your water every 3 to 4 days. You're like monitoring this stuff. You can't have like an employee or a friend try to pH the thing because you know that they're gonna add too much pH up or down, and that your whole shit's, gets a little wild. Yarrow calcium nitrate. So this is actually a great, great, great product. And I'm pretty sure if you looked up most of the lines out there, no matter fully organic or anything that they claim on the bottles, is I'm pretty sure 97% of them are using Yarrow calcium nitrate. The thing is it has 3 different types of nitrogen in them. We'll go through this a little bit more one day too, but it just makes sure, it really ensures that your plant's actually getting the nitrogen that you're giving it. All these products have nitrogen in them, but the way that they made this, the uptake process in your actual plant, and the balls themselves is really funny. Is they're like hard. They almost remind me of like bubblegum balls, but like really, really mini. I love playing with them, even though you cannot play with them. They're just fun. They are just a fun product. They dissolve a little bit harder. So whenever I make my salt mixes, what people don't realize with salts is like I have to use my base. So I'll take a 5-gallon bucket. I'll put my base in first, and then I use monopotassium phosphate with my base. We'll talk about that soon. But I'll put those guys in because they are chemically compatible. So I'll do those first without water. And then I start adding the water. It'll be really, really hot. I try to get my water as hot as I can get it to dissolve the salts fully and mix those together. So you'll fill like a third of the bucket at first with those. And then you have to do a cold water. This is weird, but you have to add cold water without mixing these products together or the water to keep it actually separate in the bucket. And then you slowly introduce your calcium nitrate when the bucket's almost like half full, 3/4 full. Then you'll slowly start to take your cup in of your calcium nitrate so that they don't mix immediately. And that is how you keep them separate. But just for people that don't see that, like, part A's and parts B's, or we could flip it and we could make our base, our part B, and the calcium nitrate, the part A. But that's all that really means is a lot of nitrogen products can't be mixed immediately like that. Oh, dry grow tech dry amendments. Only 2 doses per veg. Incredible boost for sure. Oh, that sounds nice. Oh, trying to grow tech precision seems okay so far. You guys are so nice. Thank you so much for watching. I think so. Monopotassium phosphate. So Peak is my favorite company again that I source. But it's actually a really high ratio. It's the most concentrated that you can buy without a license. Is 0.5234. So this is weird. If you look at products like Moab on the market, or some of the other things, any additives that they're pushing to you for flour is like, if you actually looked at Moab, the inside of that product line it's exactly this, just repackaged. It's a really, really, really fine salt. It almost looks like table salt. But it's really good for flour. So it boosts like your uptake and your stimulation in flour at certain parts of flowering weeks. So like some people use it only from week 2 to 6, and like there's different beliefs with all that. I personally use monopotassium phosphate instead of magnesium. So not to make this confusing, but magnesium is one of the most common things I've seen as a salt mix. Like Athena, all these other lines, is they use a base, calcium nitrate, and then they'll use magnesium. So the weird part is though, and like everybody needs to double check even if you're not running salts, is like your base has magnesium in it, and magnesium is a very sensitive thing as far as if you add too much, you can get the plant to actually flush out. If you add a little, you can get your plant to uptake. So you have to double check on those that you're not doubling down. But because my base has magnesium in it, I use the monopotassium from the time that they're clones even all the way into flour, because I use the same salt mix. The EC I use is about 1.4. And the thing that I've noticed is that the plants like truly, truly love it. I think instead of giving them like this hard hormonal like kick in when they're already getting it, is I think it kind of just balances out everything and keeps it consistent. And I think it does develop your actual colas and buds to be a lot more prone to being successful, to have dense weed without having like the bud rot or some of these other things that happen with like hazes or just some of these thicker big girls out there. Number. Oh, we need a number 4. Oh, shout out to James and Maddie. Love you guys. Rockwell cubes for clones and have 100% success. I just wanted to... That is awesome. See, I love the Rockwell too. Instead of the Root Riots, like I started with those just like everybody else, where that was like my jam, and I never thought I'd grow Rockwell. But I think the Rockwell is, I personally use the 2-inch blocks or the 1.5. But even those, as I can tell you, there's differences that I've seen, and I would love to hear your thoughts. Is like the 2-inch blocks, they'll take longer to actually get going. Like instead of 14 days that you see them really blown out, is it will take like 3 weeks sometimes to really get them to get going. And so I can get it to speed up if I'm trying to show off, or I'm trying to like sell clones, or I'm trying to like move my harvest along, whatever it is you can use 1 or 1.5 blocks, and they'll root a lot faster. You can get them to like start blowing out like that in like 7 days roughly. But your stalks, that's the difference between these things, is like your stalks will actually differ. Is like the 2-inch blocks will give you the biggest stalks long term. So if you're planning on, again, running hazes or strains for like multiple weeks, like you're not just like cruising your sea or green style, or you're not just running stuff for 8 weeks on the dot. Like, I don't know, I would go 2-inch Rockwell. But if you're really trying to like stick to a schedule and you are running stuff, let's just say not that long, is like I would do the 1 or 1.5 just to speed it along. But I have had 100% success rate with Rockwell versus some of the other things that I've tried. Is like, I don't know, it gets a little squirrely. Rockwool can also be challenging, I think, to dial in. A lot of people I see struggle, like they'll hate Rockwool. They'll be like, I tried it this one time and it was either too wet or too dry. But honestly, once you first get comfortable with it, like I set my clones. This is a trick that I really, really like, but I plug my clones and then I don't touch them for 5 days. I keep them totally closed. They're like humid little swamp pond in there. And then after that, then I'll give them their first water. But I see a lot of people kind of mess them up by getting them oversaturated, but then I see them dry them out and like they never get to really see them flourish. Aw, thanks, Russ. My co-host is late too. Okay, primordial solutions. I don't know why I can't say this word forever. My entire career, I pushed this product, and primordial is very difficult for me to say. so just bear with me. This is Sea Green. So Sea Green, they also have a couple other products on their line, but this is the one that I think everybody should have. If you grow sterile, if you don't, the Organic Life loves this product, and honestly, I hope one day to have them on the show. The thing is, it's kind of expensive. Not going to deny this fact. It's kind of an expensive product. It's used both in your reservoir and in... God, I'm looking rough over there. Sorry, but it's used in your reservoir and in... what's it called? Sorry, as a foliar spray. But I think in your res, they call for 2 mils per gallon. And if you were to ever do that, you would run out of this bottle in like, I don't know, a week or something for most grows. Especially commercial, it'd be a joke. You would just like dash it in there one time and feel good about it. But I think that foliars is like one thing that I've learned is I like using this as a foliar feed because I do grow with rockwool and I do grow with salts. As much as people hate hearing this, please try my weed sometimes before you hate it so much. Those terps are still there. But I think this product is something they really, really like. Is what up, Uncut? Is I think I've seen it like if you do a treatment, like for instance, if I have a customer struggling with aphids, aphids, you're coming in and like I do a lot of drenches, where I have to drench the plant and then spray the plant immediately after, and that's because you get these little guys to come out of the soil or the medium, and I hit my flyers right after. And so you'll see your plants, whether it's not burning or anything necessarily, and it's not shocking your plant. Like, I think a lot of people have a misconception on pesticides, like you're hurting the plant or maybe people are doing it wrong out there. Don't get me wrong. I've seen that too. And it is hurting the plant. But for the most part is you're trying to help the plant. You're trying to fix these bugs. So it's honestly supposed to, within a couple of days, you're supposed to see the plant's new growth and everything look better, like actually look healthier, look more vigorous and all those things. But the times that say that you got a real disease flaring while you're combating a bug issue, and you're like, okay, my plant is not uptaking right. Like I go into a lot of grows and see a lot of my friends and myself even like struggle with, you have one plant that's the same strain or whatever, but one plant that like is heavy. Every time you go to lift it, it's just like ridiculous. It's like, those are the times that I think using solutions like this and foliar feeds are really, really beneficial. It's like, you don't want your plant to rely on foliar feeds, which is, tough, I think, as well. Like, I like a regimen where you can do like once a week and say you sterilize everything on a Monday and then you inoculate everything on a Tuesday is, I don't know. I think this is it's a really beneficial product to get you through the tough times. I'm trying to word this right, but I feel like if your plant is not eating, if you do this as a little foliar, I use it at 1 mil per gallon just to draw it out, and I think it's just as effective. I think it'll perk back up your room, and even like once a month is just like a little part of your regimen that just makes them excited. They do the pray after you spray it, like they love it. I'm sorry, there's a lot of pressure. Oh, number 3. The Rhizotonic. Canna. Man, so Canna, I never thought... Oh, I'm sorry, I funk. The product that I can't say is Primordial Solutions, and it's Sea of Green. Sea of Green. If you Google that, I'm telling you, it will change the game for you. Like, it's probably the only product that I've never been like working with directly that I just would promote the shit out of their stuff for forever. Like, just nothing negative to say except for the price point, maybe. The Rhizotonic by Canna, so this is another one, is like with those foliar feeds, is like that's what I'll personally do. Is the sea of green is like when you're really combating like serious stuff. Like I said, like I wish I had some pictures to show you guys, but like when people are combating disease and bugs, like in different types of bugs, like even if you have something like as mild as fungus gnats or thrips, is it's hard because you can't start adding like so many things that they actually will thrive in those environments. Is like I think is I'll just tell you part of my IPM is, so on Mondays is I like to use two products BioSafe makes is Xerotol and Oxyphos. Is those two products together are really, really good for combating like Fusarium, Botrytis, Pythium, all these different things. So I'll go through and spray them. This is the difficult part, is you can't use a paint sprayer or anything that's not like, it's super corrosive. So you really got to use like a plastic hand sprayer, which is like not convenient unless you got 15 grand to go buy an awesome sprayer with. But you go through, you sterilize your room with those. That combats all these systemic issues. But then the second day is if you start having a room too sterile, like I learned this at Rare Dankness, is like if your environment is too sterile, you'll start getting powder mildew and some of these other issues, because even if they get exposed to like cardboard on somebody's skin, like your room will flare with powder mildew. It has nothing, like it's too sterile. So if you come back through and you inoculate with these beneficials, is Rhizo's really good for every stage of your plant. I'm not gonna say flower, but I would say like maybe even in flower, like week 1 is it promotes a lot of new growth and it stimulates your roots. But that's one that the same thing is they call for like 10 mils per gallon or something like that. And honestly, I use it on 1 mil as a foliar. And I even like adding this to Microbe Life has their little foliar. Like if you're using them at that low of ratios, those are like my 3 go-tos for foliar feeds. But the Rhizo even clones, like that's the other thing is like transplant, like that first transplant is if you're treating something and then you want to give them a little pick-me-up. I think the Rhizo is where it's at. Canna, I'm not even like a huge fan of. I've tried not supporting them in every way, but I feel like they really do produce a couple good products that I've found as like using cocoa and using the Rhizo is like I haven't seen anything kind of work more better. Number 2. We've got some cool guests coming up. I know you guys aren't going to believe me because, you know, it just has to go smooth in the beginning. We're just riding it out together. But I think we've got some people and some breeders over these next couple of weeks. After we get through 420, I'm the only person that's trying to schedule everybody on my no viewer show at 420. So, yeah, we're going to hit it hard May 1st. Yeah, so Canna, cocoa. So this is a weird part about cocoa, though, is I've been called into a lot of jobs that try to cut corners with buying cocoa, which don't get me wrong, I've tried to. And the thing is cocoa, just like any medium, like quality of soil, everybody combats like fungus gnats and thrips and things like that, or whatever. It's like cocoa has the same thing, but it'll actually like annihilate your room. Like if it comes and it wasn't washed, it'll kill your plants like in a couple days. And you will not see it coming. And it could be in flower, it could be in veg. So anyways, I've seen it happen. It's super sad. Do not cut corners on your cocoa. And for those soil growers that have never tried cocoa and they think that it is just easy peasy lemon squeezy, no. You got to value your cocoa like you value your soil. So I feel like Canna has never let me down. I, excuse me, have switched my clients from whatever cocoa products they're using for the most part to Canna just because I can rely on it every time. They do triple rinse their products before. So this is the weird part about cocoa too, is like when people say they come charged or not charged. So all that means is like if I use an EC of 1.4 and on my nutrients, then I'm going to go wash my cocoa and rinse it, and it's going to have 1.4 EC-ish in there, in theory. If it doesn't come charged, they're going to rinse it with water, and it's going to have, a really low, if nothing is the goal, if it's not coming charged. But I mean, realistically, you have a couple parts per millionth in there left. So yeah, I like to have it charged. If I know exactly what that product like has in it, the exact nutrients, all those things. Canna, I don't. So it does not come that way. It comes triple rinsed. And then all that means is that you have a nice clean slate to add whatever medium you want. Or I mean, sorry, level of your EC that you'd like. Did peroxide make the list? Yes, Russell. That's what I'm talking about. I love to see it. Yes. I can't go without hydrogen peroxide in my garden anymore. And it's weird because even like the BioSafe products I hate working with because they are so pungent, like, and they're different types of peroxides. But it is so intense, like in your eyes, in your mouth, like you're blind, you have to wear your PPE gear. It's the whole shebang just to use these products sometimes. But in the hydrogen peroxide, I've seen and worked with like female staffs and stuff that one time I had a lady on my staff that she poured hydrogen peroxide on her leggings and sorry, this is not funny. And she ate her pants like immediately, like I feel like chemical burns, like you get so used to it using these products, like that I'm not going to say I don't mind or I don't try, like they're annoying, but like it doesn't really bother me. But I try to wear pants in the grow. Like I try to wear jeans or like something that I can't get super jacked up in. But I don't know. Don't be using hydrogen peroxide though in leggings. Like it's not a good combo. Oh, number 1. Okay, so the reason I put this as my number 1 is because it is my number 1. Hydro Farm makes these square pots. So there's all different kinds of sizes. Instead of gallons, they do weird dimensions. They use it off of that. So there's like 7x7, 9x9s, 12x12s, all the things. But it's funny because these pots I have grown just so fond of and switched everybody to throughout the years is because, first of all, they're square. And people don't think this has a significance, but when you're stacking plants on a tray and when you take the round pots or the plastic bags or you take all the different other types is like that I've seen is like the airflow, like people don't realize, but when you use those plastic bags is like you have a lot of humidity that would never be in a garden that had plastic pots. Like you have probably 25%, 27% more humidity in that space just because you have plastic bags. And then when you're stacking, say 50 plants on a tray to 600 plants on a tray, like you have huge differences that come into play with that. Is like you're increasing your humidity, obviously, but when you have 600 plants on a row, like they're not breathing. And then you start running into like fungus gnats and all these other issues. And so they don't drain well. And like the weight themselves, like the distribution of the drying in them is I've seen is a lot of flaws and cause a lot of problems. Same with round pots though, is like I see all the round pots that we all used to love. Like I used to grow in 15 and 20 gallon pots indoors. And it's like, it's been like 10 years since I've done that after learning these new techniques because it does just really play huge factors into your climate, your pest and disease eradication capabilities. Like if you're really not, I think the square pots, they have the drain spouts. This is ridiculous, but you can see on the screen actually is they have the drains on the side corners perforated in there. And so instead of it being on the bottom only or just one sliver on the side, is like it actually creates good draining. Like it's draining from all angles. It's draining from how it's raised up like that. Once you start packing plants, like I said, together, the density of the canopy, all those things really factor into how your plant is draining. So I think that people kind of skip these things, especially with pots, or just don't realize until you start dealing with different scales of things. But I found that these pots, not only can you push the tops together and like even carrying, you can carry 4 at a time instead of 1 and having it pull over or lean is, you can stack them really close together and it causes your growth. So instead of your growth going wide, so if I was to put a plant in a 15-gallon pot, it would actually naturally grow more in width. It's like by me expanding its root zone like that, it's gonna simulate and the same the same type of growth. Versus if you do something like a solo cup, even like you can have plants for a year in a solo cup. Yeah, they look ridiculous, but it's like you can do this. So it creates the same style of growth. Is if you're looking for more top colas, is you can use, like, I like to do the 7x7s commercially. If I have a client that's running like 1,000 plants per room, is like I like to use the 7x7s because it's cheaper for your medium, right? You're like cutting your cost into half if you're using a smaller pot, and you have to run more water, more irrigation. But you'll get your roots real blown out where they'll go under the tray instead of like how people think that you're holding this plant back and it needs to be transplanted. You're not giving it its full potential. It's like different styles, different things. So this plant will grow more narrow and straight up, and it will develop more top colas and not a lot of like popcorn, and like not a lot of like lower growth. So if you're doing it for extraction and things like that, this might not be the best way. You should use wider pots. But if you're really like this connoisseur boutique grow, or you're really trying to push like your top colas, is like you should use more narrow of pots and have your growth focus more on the upward style than going out and with. But I like all their sizes in these pots. I'm the type of person that never thought I would grow this way now, but I like to run more irrigation and have less of a medium and feed them more often. So sometimes even my flower rooms will get fed up to like 10 or 12 times a day, versus like watering them once a day and having, a bigger pot. But I've just found even if you still want bigger pots and to get crazy, is I feel like their draining is the best I've seen, and it's like raised on the bottom, keeps it flowing. Seeing pest resistance, like Safoil. I personally, honestly, I've been shown a couple different products that you can use. I want to pull it up right now, honestly. I just got shown one this week that's supposed to be like the best. I can never say this. I'm going to come back to this. but I feel like I don't personally, this is weird, but whenever I've used like products mixing as far as pesticides, like, and this is totally like ass backwards for a consultant to say this, is like I feel like you want more thorough coverage. You want to use these products to spread out your coverage and make sure that everything's like getting hit essentially. But it's weird, is like I would rather, I'm so particular now on how much pesticide, or like what pesticide I'm using, and like how many mils per gallon or whatever. Is I'm so particular now because like most times I'm spraying another person's garden, or have, it's just like a different, I hate to say this, but on my plants, I was more amped to try things and like combine things together. But now after working in the industry for a while, is like I feel like there's been a lot of disappointing products, like where you'll find out these product lines themselves actually are lying about what their active ingredients are, and like cross-contamination with like, I don't know, it just sounds ridiculous, but I'm almost like uneasy to use them commercially and just haven't in the last 5 years. I remember 14 years ago, I was definitely using products in combination. Like I'm trying to remember some of the most common ones. It's been so long and I hate to be like that, but I'm not a good combination factor girl when it comes to this. But somebody did just introduce me to a product a week ago that it's just funny that you asked this, is thank you, Jesus, surfactant. I'm not going to say it anymore. It's my least favorite word. I'm sorry. Thank you. Somebody just showed me this one though that's supposed to be used on like fruit instead of like cannabis or anything. God, that's embarrassing. But it is like, it's the most fine, instead of having like an oil base or something, it's the most like fine product I've seen yet, but I haven't gotten a chance to mix it. I just got it probably 2 days ago, but I will come back to it and I'll learn how to say the word when we touch on it again. I've never been able to say it in 14 years. If somebody could help me with primordial and surfactant, we'll be good. What else? What else? That was a really good question, though. It honestly makes me like curious again. As maybe this is one thing too. Is like when I started doing certain mixtures of pesticides, I would always like use what somebody told me to use or what the grocery store guy told me to use for whatever. And I would like try all these combinations with shit, and then it would come out awful, like awful to the point. God, this one is like sticking on the tip of my tongue. It's driving me crazy. I can see the bottle. I thought it was the suffix too, but it's not. It was, I don't know. But I remember having a terrible experience with it one time and thinking that I'm sure it was me mixing something incorrectly or like doing something incorrectly looking back, but like I don't know. I was just kind of scared of using any surfactants after that. Okay, so now that you guys know my top 10 products and way too much about my thoughts on them, is I'm going to try to do this without my co-host. And I don't think it's going to go very well. But I think we'll try to do the news just because I want you guys to see my new news segment, okay? There's a lot of effort by my great studio producer over here, and it came out beautiful. We'll do mids of the week. Okay. Oh, waiting agent. Thank you. Does wonders for my Vegas. Haven't needed to use it on my cannabis plants though. See, or veggies, sorry. That's what's weird. Is like I've seen more people using it's like wedding agents. Thank you. I just wish that you guys could have been in my brain like 5 minutes ago. I feel like I've seen it more with like fruits and flowers and things like that, but I don't know why it scared me so much with cannabis to like go in and spray with it, but I'm stepping up this week. Okay, so you should be my co-host. Come try. Let's feel it out. Okay, so our mids of the week, I'm going to start doing mids of the week, and there's going to be like a treat of the week, of course, too. But for now, we're just going to keep this rolling. So commercial cannabis that has celebrities branded behind it. What is your guys' thoughts on this? Like, how do you feel about the Wiz Khalifa, the Willie's Reserve, Leaf Spy Snoop? So these are just the companies that when I was working at Lightshade or some of these other places are just going in as a customer is like, I see these guys on the shelves and like, I don't know, like I'm not like, oh, let me go buy this. Like I want to get Snoop's weed. And the downside is because when I worked at Rhode Ignis, I remember Willie coming in like fresh. This is like their timing was aligned with all this. Is like coming in fresh and like them pitching their little promotion of Willie's to Scott, and it was really cool. We didn't end up doing that partnership, but the thing was like I found out that it was like taking more percentages of a crop and saying that this is theirs. So like the rube would be Rare Ignis and all the weed hypothetically, but then to the rows would be Willie's. And it wasn't that Willie was going to send his staff in every day to grow your weed or do anything. Willie was going to put this nice sticker on it and he was going to say that was his favorite strain because maybe it was. Maybe it was out of those 12 other strains. Like I bet Willie was honest with that. But I think that it's just kind of weird to me. Like, and I don't even know why, but like even when I think of Willie Nelson or Snoop Dogg or something, like, of course I'm like, yeah, these guys smoke weed. But I've never been like, these guys grow weed. And I don't know what, but I've never been like, oh, Willie's got the green thumb or he's got the best people that know how to grow. I don't know. I'm trying to like understand as like a marketing decision. At what point were people like Britney Spears? I'd be more apt to buy that shit. Like if I saw like a celebrity name that was just ridiculous, like Paris Hilton, Britney, like all my 2000 babies crushing it. Like if I saw their shit, yes, I would go buy it. That's just totally contradicting, but I would go buy it immediately. But but I feel like when I see these boys up here, Khalifa Kush, and I don't know. I'm like, dude, you guys we were all smoking blunts together. Not together, but we were all smoking around these same times. And guess what? We were smoking weed that had like 5 different strains out on the market It was all $4,000 a pound, and they were the same 4 strain. Like, I don't even know. What do you guys think, though? I feel Leafs by Snoop Dogg, like Adam. I know that Adam and all of them are really close with the Snoop Dogg. But you know what's weird to me about Snoop as well is I feel like ever since Instagram became our lives, is I felt like Snoop was so cool. Like, I used to think Snoop Dogg was just like the best man ever. And then when Instagram came about, I was just like, man, this is kind of disappointing. Like, Snoop is just sitting in his living room watching dumb shit and reposting it all day too. And I don't know, maybe he should grow weed. Maybe he should have a little back closet, and then maybe I would buy it. I think that's what Brittany is holding. See, we did it. I'm hitting up Brittany today. I think we found our new celebrity brand. I'm just going to reach out to Brittany, be like, listen, Brittany, you're crazy. I can grow our weed together. I bet she'll message me back. I think she's been popping on the gram too. That is so funny though. I'm ripped. Was thinking about how you got the biggest names behind you in 2 weeks. That's hilarious. You know what's even more hilarious is when I worked at Way to Grow is there was all these companies that I got sponsored by. Is they would be so intrigued. Like when people say it's the opposite of what you think. Like these people would be like, "Oh my God, Jay, you're a girl grower in Colorado pushing this stuff commercially," or like I can't even describe it, but it was so douchey and it was so lame. And so all these companies I felt like wanted like a tax write-off or to say that they were like not sexist but sexist or like supportive of whatever. I don't even think one of them really saw like my portfolio. They just knew I had clients that were spending money on stuff. And I feel like they all wanted to be your friends. They all wanted to be like, push this, push all these great products for me, Instagram, tag me, and we are your sponsor. And it's just hilarious. All those guys, I think I've been sponsored by so many people in this industry for like 5 minutes that now I just want you guys to know this is straight up because I like the product. This is not because I like the people. This is because their products are great. But I can't get sponsored by these mother truckers again. We got some news now. RBK, Ricky's Brothers Kush. Ooh. Thanks, guys, for bearing through this. So the weirdest news that I found today is, okay, you can't really see it on the gram screen. I'm sorry. Okay, there we go. Is Trump suggests genetically engineered marijuana may be causing mass shootings. So at first, when I read this title, of course I stumbled over it, but I was like, interesting, very interesting. What could this, I don't know. So when I started reading this article, though, it got way crazier than I thought. Like, he was talking about, I don't even know, like something about the cartels, something about all kinds of stuff that I was just like, is this guy talking about fentanyl? Like, did he get these mixed up or something? Like, does Trump know what cannabis is? But like, it was we can't get like too politically deep because nobody cares to hear my thoughts on any of this really. But like, you guys have to Google it at least for half a second because it was just like, he was saying that that he has found that there's more violence since cannabis has been legalized than prior is essentially what the story is. But so he said that if he is coming back, that he's going to rein it in. He's gonna really rein in the cannabis businesses and never trust the authorities. Exactly. He said he's just gonna rein in some of the cannabis market and I don't know. But it's weird because I remember when he was like a huge advocate for supporting the cannabis market, like not too long ago. And then it's a very extreme flip, but you guys have to let me know what you think because I just can't even remember now. I just keep getting too high is the problem. I feel like he he's just all over the place. I almost feel like he's doing this because he is like trying to sway away from like the hippie side or something, or like, you know, put a sledgehammer in it. But then all the things that they were referring to sounded like so thug life. Like I was just like, oh my God, this is not a cannabis article. like I can see all the things he's talking about for sure being valid and all this shit with like heroin, fentanyl, some of these other things. But the way that they were talking about cannabis, it was just like so humorous that like I kind of want to like print the article, or I kind of hope they talk about this more just so I can like like just make a collage or something. It's just very cute. Very cute. This is the appropriate.
Flick that beat!
I think, okay. Should we take a dab? Because I've been trying to smoke this blunt. Keeps going out because I can't speak tonight. I was so confident, guys, before coming on for my huge audience right now. And I feel like it just declined at a rapid pace. Oh, we got OG Tyler's blank seat over there. Sorry about that. Let me bring it on back over here. Yes. Okay, but can you guys tell me some of your favorite products in the chat? Because there's got to be some stuff out there that you guys really like. Or what was your thoughts on the wedding agents? What should I be doing? Thank you. Dab Logic. Wonder what they're up to today. This one is... Okay, can you read what this strain is? Because I don't think it's just me. I don't think it's just me. RGM? Do you guys know what RGM is? Alright. Me either. But I might have to Google it. I've been looking for a soil too. So for everybody that doesn't know, is I actually do grow a soil and I actually do love it. But I was looking lately so I like the organic 707 and like I'll add some amendments and mix it, but like get a little bit fluffier before just like using it directly out of the bag. But it's pretty much like the 707. But like the Pro Mix, I really like the Pro Mix too. Sunshine, even though I know it's not a straight soil mix, is like, but all those products in the last couple of years, like I don't think it's been bad. Like, but I think that storage and like how things are getting moved and like kind of chilling around and stuff, stagnant, is like I almost think, I don't know, I'm almost like disappointed with like how the pallets are like holding moisture or like water levels or bugs. Like I don't know. Loyal to the soil, I like to see that though. Don't get me wrong, I love it. Ooh, yucca extract for reals? You like it? Do you get it from what is it? Jeremy at Build a Soil? But you got me. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I'll definitely try that. Thank you. I've heard of yucca being used, like, again, these are like old school, like I feel like more, not in the recent years have I seen anybody doing that, but that's like really cool. I love to see that. Fish emulsions, yeah. It's hard to bring more fish into my garden. Just kidding. I think, what was that line? I bet you know, Uncut. Who made a fish emulsion mix that was like really, really like super popular at one point in time? And it came in a white tub and I had like a blue label. I can't remember. Well, I think that if you guys slide into my DMs on Instagram, I'd really appreciate it. If you guys today, I really appreciate you listening so much more than you could ever know. But today was kind of a curveball. Okay, didn't see this coming. But I think that if we could talk about things that you guys really, or if I could answer questions actually and pull you guys information specifically. I know that I always get chaotic when I talk especially by myself. But I think that I really want to hear what would be best for us all to chill and talk about. I want to help as best as I can, and it's hard with IPM because I get IPM questions like out of the blue, but like I would really like, you know, if anybody's struggling with anything, like let me know, and we can talk about it on here. We'll not talk about, you know, we won't talk about anything that nobody wants to talk about, but anyways, can you guys entertain the end of my show tonight though with trying to find, please like and subscribe. I know it's hard right now, but you just hang in there and one day I'll get you back on those seeds, those clones, or some goodie. You'll get a treat. You just wait. But I really would appreciate if you guys watched my little outro and tried to find me on Instagram or YouTube or Discord or Twitch. I don't even know what else I'm missing on, but if you think it's something, you just let me know. You guys have a beautiful night. Here's the outro.